Here's the timing side bush assembly for the BSA A65 engine, all assembled. I've pressed the new steel back bush into the steel housing, and I've also, whether the camera can pick it up or not, I've pegged it. I've used one of those little pins which is fitted just to sort of prevent any chance of the pressed in bush spinning round in the steel housing and making the oil holes go out of line, which can starve a crank of oil almost straight away. So that's all good and ready to go. Also, it's a standard size bush, I think I've already mentioned that, but if we look at the crank and offer it up to the crank, it doesn't quite go on. So that's a good thing, because that means that I can take the crank and the timing side crankcase, once I've put this in, which I'm going to do next, up to the guy who's going to have a look at the crank, and he'll be able to measure the bore of this and grind the journal accordingly. So what we might end up with, when you go from standard size, you get, like, for instance, -10 or -20, -30 and so on, with the timing side bushes that you can get as replacements. We might end up with this one as a standard one. As I think I've already said, it's recommended that when you fit it to a standard sized journal, that light reaming might be necessary to make it fit. So it is slightly undersized anyway until reamed. Well, rather than reaming it out, what we'll do here is we'll tackle it the other way around, and we'll get the timing side journal ground down to whatever size it needs to be a nice fit in there, with no more than 1/1000th of an inch clearance, and whatever that comes out to be, it might be perhaps -3, 4 or 5 thou. I know that there's about 2 to 3 thou of wear on this, so it's going to need a little bit taken off it anyway, and hopefully it won't need too much, and we'll end up with this being a good fit. But also, this doesn't quite fit now, but by the time it's pressed into the crankcase, it'll be slightly tighter still, so I'm sure that we'll get a satisfactory fit that can be achieved between both of these before the end of well, not the day, but the efforts made with the regrind and so on. So next up, I'm going to get this into the crankcase, and then the crankcase and the crankshaft can go on their holidays for a little while and hopefully come back ready to go. And there's the new thrust washer for the timing side that goes with this type of housing, with the narrower flange rather than the wide flanged one that I had before.